In the wake of a lot of violence that our country has been experiencing, and of course there's violence all over the world, we have noticed an uptick in conversations around people with mental illness and whether or not they should have access to weapons. I want to caution us as we look at the issue of violence, as we respond sometimes emphatically and emotionally to terrifying and horrifying and heartbreaking stories, particularly of mass shootings. But then I always ask the question, why do I hear from certain circles of the world more focus on mass shootings than on the everyday violence that we see, where guns and people kill each other in numbers that are staggering as well? And as we talk about this, we seem to act as if that's just part of the normal everyday life, and then these mass shootings are what we need to respond to. What we hear from people is, well, let's make sure we get the guns away from people with mental illness. This is very concerning to me, because what it does is it scapegoats mental illness without actually focusing on the real problem, which is this: anger. People do not necessarily know what to do with their anger. And as we see violence in homes, violence in communities, what we're seeing is misguided anger. And this is a spiritual matter, and it's a place where church needs to step in. It's a place where faith communities can teach the practices that separate our righteous anger, the normal fight or flight response that comes from feeling threatened, to what turns into violence in someone else's life. And I encourage all faith communities to take a close look at mental illness in general, of course, but not in a scapegoating way, but instead saying that many of us face moments of anger, of anxiety, of depression. And what we need to figure out is how we treat all that, but we really need, if we want to reduce the violence, we have to figure out how we faithfully shape a response to the anger in our lives. And so anger is what harms people. Misplaced anger is what kills people, especially if that person is holding a weapon that can take so many out. Jesus got angry all the time. Anger is not bad, but when we don't know what to do with our anger, that's when people get hurt. And churches, faith communities, if we're not first in helping people to know what to do with anger, then actually we might be part of the problem. Amen.